You're listening to the Hella Well with Danielle show, a podcast taking women of color on a journey exploring all things wellness and travel related. We're all about showing you how to put on your oxygen mask first and creating lasting self-care habits that will free you to travel the world and live the life you truly desire, and not one you have to fake loving. I'm your host, Danielle Washington. Now let's buckle up and start this journey. Welcome to the Hella Well with Danielle podcast, your weekly mental vacation from the daily grind for busy women of color who are on their healing journey and just need a moment to pause, pour into themselves, and honestly, woosah. I am your healing journey tour guide, Danielle Washington. And I'm also a Netflix junkie, like majorly big Netflix junkie. It's actually a huge part of my self-care routine, but not in the way you're probably thinking. It's not that, oh, this girl just binge watches TV and calls it self-care. Self-care, hashtag self-care. No. Actually, a couple years ago, I was preparing for doing ayahuasca, and one of the dietary restrictions was cutting out violent TV. I thought that was a little bit much, but I was like, okay, I'm here. I'm going all the way in. But honestly, you can only watch so many Hallmark movies. Like, I could only watch so many Hallmark movies. The Christmas ones, maybe I could watch a couple in a row, but like after a while, you're like, okay, I can't do this. So I have actually kept this up as part of my healing self-care routine, is watching certain TV shows that kind of are a little bit on the lighter side. And so when shows like Bridgerton came out, I was so on it. And then more recently, Queen Charlotte, a Bridgerton story, is everything. I am trying so hard not to watch all of it, but I'm 5 episodes in out of 6. And I'm like, well, sister, you might as well watch the last one because it's going to be a while till you get another one. If you haven't been paying attention, the writers are on strike right now, and I applaud them. You know, they deserve, for the amazing work that they do, they deserve fair pay because I love these shows. And so in honor of the amazing writing of the Bridgerton series, I wanted to talk about how Bridgerton can enhance your well-being and some life lessons it can show you, it can actually teach you. So again, I've been watching Bridgerton. I love it. If you do watch the show, this is for you. If you haven't watched the show, I don't feel like I'm saying too much that will give stuff away, because if you know anything about it, I'm just giving generalizations about the show. So there aren't any spoiler alerts if you are trying to watch Queen Charlotte. I'm not giving away any information. But what I will say is one of the ways I found that this series has really enhanced my self-care, my well-being, is by the fact that it has such a calming effect on our nervous system. And there's so many reasons why this is the case. First, the show's setting and costumes are everything. If you haven't watched it, I love the costumes. They're visually soothing and aesthetically pleasing to the eye. Like, the beautiful elegance of the Regency era costumes are just everything. From the decor to the landscape, just everything about it. It screams this beautiful tranquility, this elegance, escapism from the present day of the world. It's just not the same. I don't live in that world. I don't know if I'd want to wear those clothes, but watching it, there's something kind of magical about watching and looking at the costumes and the sets. Secondly, the show's plot and the characters provide a sense of emotional regulation. That romantic plot line is often a way for us to see how things can get resolved in a satisfying way, which can create a sense of closure and reduces stress and anxiety. I love a show that will help me not only fulfill my need of watching a TV show and kind of relaxing, but it also will help me reduce my anxiety and stress because it provides us with a way to kind of get that closure we may not be getting in our normal life. Additionally, watching the show can help with your self-care in a way that it gives you a break from the everyday stressors. It's just a time to relax. It's time to set time aside. I set time aside for watching these shows. And I'm intentional about watching these shows at certain times because I know that I can be someone who can watch it all in one setting. And I'm like, oh, dang, now I got to wait a year. So when I gift myself opportunity to watch Bridgerton or watch Queen Charlotte, this is my way of telling myself, I'm gifting you this special moment to watch your favorite TV show. It signals to the brain that this is time to relax. This is time to unwind. And this can be really soothing to our nervous system. Plus, who doesn't love the soundtrack of the show? Like, the soundtrack is extraordinarily calming on our nervous system. They take songs that we all know, like I heard the other day, Halo, and they make it an instrumental classical music song. And it just, classical music, I'm sure you can do many research, there's a Google search you can do on how classical music can help you with reducing stress and anxiety, because I know there's tons and tons and tons of research on that. But the show takes that type of music, shifts what we know as mainstream songs, and put it in this way that relaxes the mind, relaxes the nervous system, that helps us in a way that we're thinking we're just watching a show, but low key, the show is actually helping us reduce our stress. I love that. Like, I love the fact that there's all these different cool things that will actually help our nervous system when watching shows like Bridgerton and Queen Charlotte. But I also love that there are some great life lessons that you can get from watching these shows if you're paying attention. Like the importance of communication, which if there's the biggest theme of this show is the fact that there's some major communication issues in the show. And we see that with misunderstandings with, Daphne Bridgerton and Simon Bassett, and their lack of communication and how it leads to conflict and heartbreak. For me, it was the wedding day. I won't give any details, but watching their wedding day was so nerve-wracking. Like, I get that this is intentional. It's TV. These two are, they're meant to have some struggles. Like, you kind of know the formula of what's going to happen. But, dude, seriously, watching them struggle to express their feelings to each other, oh my God, it was like, girl, it had me talking to the TV. I was like, he likes you. Like, you think that he's mad at you, but he's not. And it was just like frustrating. And the same thing with Queen Charlotte and King George. You're watching it and you're like, why aren't they getting it? Why aren't they getting it? And it's a real lesson in the importance of open communication and not assuming. Because what my dad always says, when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. And that's what happens in all these shows where you're watching them make assumptions about what other people were thinking. And that's a communication problem that all of us can learn from, is a situation where we are thinking for someone else. We are assuming what someone else is thinking. We are trying to jump into their heads and like, oh, such and such is thinking this, when we don't really know. And this show shows a perfect example of someone thinking for someone else and acting on that assumption and making all these decisions. Fast forward to a few more episodes further, you're like, oh, you weren't thinking that? You weren't hating me? Oh, you really love me? Oh, dang. We could have been had the best wedding ever versus the wedding being kind of janky. Okay, I guess that was a spoiler alert. Whoops. All right, I'll try not to do any more. This leads to my second lesson, the power of forgiveness. Bridgerton ultimately celebrates the power of love and forgiveness, and to be for love and forgiveness to be able to heal all past wounds and bringing people together. And who doesn't love that? That's very Hallmark-esque, but in a very Olivia Pope, Shonda Rhimes, How to Get Away with Murder type of way. Like, it's just, she does it in a way that, and the writers do in a way that keeps your attention, that kind of keeps you slightly suspenseful, but at the same time, you're like, yes, this is everything. Like, several characters from Daphne and Simon, they learn to forgive them, not only themselves and forgive themselves for past thoughts, but they learn to forgive each other for past mistakes and embrace their future together. The show reminds us that love and forgiveness can be transformative and can be a major force in our lives if we allow it. We allow ourselves to do that self-reflection, that self-awareness. You see that in the first season you see that actually every season, the first season, the second season, and now with Queen Charlotte, you're seeing how people are able to go within, look within themselves and seeing what's going on with them and thinking like, oh, okay, well, what can I work on? How can I make the situation better? What can I do? And you see that growth. And I think that's important story that goes along with that love and forgiveness. The other part that I appreciate about this series is that oftentimes when you see period pieces, the women are just seen as publicly weak. That's the only way I can say it. The women are typically seen as publicly weak. They're only able to speak their mind in the privacy of their homes and their family. But not here. Shonda Rhimes and the excellent writers of this show have graced us with characters like Queen Charlotte and the beautiful, wonderful, amazing Lady Danbury. Lady Danbury is everything. These women constantly show us their strength. They speak their minds. They stand up for what they believe in, including their self-worth, even in the face of systematic racism and sexism. And if you don't watch the show, Lady Danbury and Queen Charlotte are both Black. They're both Black women. Lady Danbury is known for her sharp wit, her no-nonsense attitude. She's not afraid to speak her opinion, even when it's unpopular. They both remind us that the importance of being true to who you are, the importance of expressing your thoughts, your ideals with confidence, with conviction, and also to remember that you are worthy, and it has nothing to do with your skin tone. The last lesson for me, and I think it's probably the most important one, is the lesson or the power of resilience. Bridgerton and Queen Charlotte remind us constantly of the power of resilience and the ability to overcome adversity. Several characters in the show face so many different problems, which, again, you expect this in a Shonda Rhimes type of show. If you watch Grey's Anatomy, you know there's going to be problems. Like, how many times can a show get bombed? Or have medical, or have someone come in and set a fire or do all these different crazy things in the same hospital? All I know is if I was in Seattle, Grey Sloan would not be the hospital I would be going to first. I'm just saying. But I digress. But on this show, everyone has, not everyone, but there's a lot of adversity that people have to come through. Several characters are shown facing challenges and setbacks, but they're able to persevere and come out stronger on the other side. Again, I get it's a TV show with a romantic bent, so it's a safe bet to assume things are all going to work out. But watching the show, it reminds your subconscious that we too are capable of facing and overcoming our challenges. This is possible. I love the fact that Bridgerton and Queen Charlotte teaches us to be open to the possibilities of life. And for that, the cute men, the amazing clothes, the fantastic writing, and the epic musical remixes, I am forever and ever and ever a major fan of this show and will continue watching it whenever I need a lift in my spirits. Because I know that this is a huge part of my self-care and how I take care of me. So it's about time for me to get back into that last episode of Queen Charlotte, but I realized we didn't do any breathing. So before I jump off, let's do a quick breathing exercise. So if you have the time, I invite you to close your eyes, sit up tall. You can stand if you want to. Put your hands on your thighs and just begin to focus in on your breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to have you take your right hand and use your thumb and plug off your right nostril. So what that means is you're going to use your thumb to close off your right nostril with your forefingers facing upwards. So as if your hand is open, as if you're going to slap yourself, but you're only slapping your nose, the right side of your nose. And we're going to breathe out of our left side of our nose. And this helps the mind relax. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps the body to relax, to unwind. So just inhaling deeply through the left nostril, as deep as you can without struggling, and then exhaling smoothly out of the left nostril. And continue doing this over and over again. Inhaling deeply and exhaling deeply. You can do this to the count of 4 or just naturally figure out your inhale and exhale, keeping them either even or seeing if you can extend that exhale a little bit more. And as you inhale, imagine this beautiful white light is coming into your body. And as you exhale, you're releasing everything that doesn't serve you. Any tension, any thoughts, any relationships. Taking this moment to really pour into yourself, to trigger that mindset of I am relaxing, I am at ease, I am at ease, I am at ease. You can continue this as long as you want. You can remember to come back to this part of the show at any time. You need a moment to just relax and take a mental vacation. I'll see you next week. Ciao. Thanks for joining us this week on the Hello Well with Danielle show. Make sure to visit our website, hellowellwithdanielle.com, where you can subscribe to our show on iTunes, Spotify, and Amazon Music and never miss an episode. Also, you can follow us on social media at Hello Well with Danielle on Facebook and Instagram, and Hello Well Danny on Twitter. And if you like hella love the show and got some good nuggets out of it, know that I'm not too proud to ask for you to please leave a rating or review on iTunes so that we can continue to expand our reach and help other women of color. Again, thanks so much for listening, and I hope to see you next week. Ciao.